Welcome back, everybody. Harry here, known as Trade Shop, and bringing you these daily updates on Bitcoin. And we have the alt of the day, which is Cardano. Gonna have a look at it because it's changing biases. It's quite in a difficult position. I'm gonna see what I can basically populate on the charts. Give you some ideas for all of you Cardano holders and let you know what's going up. What's going on? Sorry, I don't think there might possibly be a position, but it's definitely good to keep your eye on. But let's look at Bitcoin first. Bitcoin here, getting rejected at the top side of our range, looking like it does want to come down here. Stokes would be crossed down, yes, and the 1 hour Stokes also should be crossing down here, and yes, they are. Uh, what I'm looking for is basically we don't have a top wick here, so we could flip up here, make a top wick, and then start coming down to fill the range. But looking at how the candles are moving, there's not much volume in the markets here, and I would be looking for Bitcoin to range a bit. We did get down to my price target that I was looking for to get in a position at 55.5, and that was basically on the higher time frames. That was a clear position on the higher time frames. Why? Because if you go to something like a daily, right, you can see that that is just around where the low was, right? So that's why I got that position. It was just around here. So I expected a bounce just around here, and we can see that we had like maybe a 1% drawdown before getting picked back up, right? So not even 1%, half a percent drawdown. Unfortunately, I didn't get in that position, wasn't during my trading times, but it's looking good as long as we're above this pivot, right? Any daily closure above. Now that we've tested it once, the next pass, if it, I look for it to either close below, and if it closes below, we are changing structure. But if you look at like higher time frames, like a weekly or something, it's not an issue at all, right? Anywhere down to like 53,000 in this area around, then you could expect a bounce, right? But then it starts to get critical. But that's not what I'm looking for, right? And we'll talk about it once if we get there. But I'm looking actually bullish based on the higher time frames, and I think we're coming out of a huge consolidation. As soon as it gets boring, I do think that this was probably one of the low points here. And you can see on the daily time frame, if I'm not mistaken, we are coming. No, it wasn't. It was on the 4 hour time frame. We are forming a higher low structure, which can be interpreted as an ascending triangle. So, coming down to this support here wouldn't be an issue. It might just be a nice retest, possibly an opportunity, but I'm not too sure if it's ready to get going, right? And we could see Bitcoin bounce out of here and continue up and onwards, right? And if we were to just take a projection target from this whole formation, we can see that, a projection based out on a 4 hour breakout would probably bring us to 60 something, right? So that's 64,000. So that's a nice breakout area, and it's looking pretty good, even a little bit more to be honest. That's around 64,400. So that would be a nice target. Taking a Fibonacci from this whole base, wrong way, from this whole base, we can see that that 64 target is a target, and then 66 we can start talking about next before we see a pullback. But that's all I have to say about Bitcoin. It's not too interesting, a little bit of sideways. Now we're creating that top wick. Does it bounce here? I don't see why it should bounce here, but it could. It could bounce off this support back here. But yeah, I'm looking for it to continue crossing down just a little bit more. But yeah, let's go on to the altcoin of Cardano and see what's going on with that. So Cardano broke out of our region here, you can see causing a fake out for people. But I did say if this area does break, I am looking for price to continue down, and we did get to our next support, which was down here, and bounced off that. You can see it on the 1 hour. Yeah, we got a nice bounce back on that. Now we're crossing up here, putting in some sort of higher low structure, and if this structure can start to break and we can start see higher highs and higher lows, then it starts to look good for Cardano. But on the other side, if we do break the support at 1.16, then it looks very bad. And I know that's a biased thing, but we can see here on the Stokes, we do have a competing trend line coming here, and we could get a bounce off that, and we might be seeing that now in price action, right? And if we do get the bounce off that trend line, then we could see price start to continue up. Now, looking at higher time frames such as a daily, uh, looking at how we had these 2 points here and then the pullback, this probably gave us some bearish divergence, and I think we can even confirm that with RSI, right? So let's see if it was a bearish divergence between this point. Yeah, you can see price is going higher. Here's a this these 2 points are higher, but on our side these 2 points are lower, and that's bearish divergence. So you can see, I would like to see daily Stokes actually turn up. But this could be a good basing option here. I'm not technically bearish on the chart until we're all the way below 1.02, and that's a possibility. But we are holding this accumulation area for a while. Weekly still looks extremely good, to be honest. And if that starts flipping from here, and continue up, it looks like it's bullish. But I just think we're in a bit of a critical zone, right? We can either have the resolution to the downside, but looking at how price is moving, I think we are catching that trend line that I was just talking about on the 1 hour Stokes. Here's that pump. And if we start flipping structure, breaking into this range, it could look good for some upside. But that's my bias. If we can hold this level here, I am bullish, and I think we're going to start to break out of this structure and start to become bullish again. But again, we have to have our downside targets. And with that, keeping that in mind, remember guys, take care, trade sharp, and then see you tomorrow.